This article focuses on community voices in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to assess the socio-ecological impacts of bus rapid transit systems. As BRT systems are globally praised for improving urban mobility, this paper argues that their broader impacts on communities, livelihoods, and urban ecology remains underexplored. Dar es Salaam is one of the East Africa's fastest growing cities, facing mounting transport challenges driven by rapid urbanization and traffic congestion. To overcome these challenges, the Tanzanian government introduced BRT as a strategic intervention to improve urban mobility. Although the system has enhanced travel efficiency, its impacts extend well beyond technical performance, transforming urban spaces and social systems in ways that remain critically underexplored in the literature. Existing studies focus narrowly on metrics such as travel speed, ridership, and emissions, leaving significant gaps in understanding community experiences, ecological impacts, and governance processes that shaped implementation. Thus, this paper argues that such a narrow evaluation lens is insufficient for understanding what BRT truly means for a city like Dar es Salaam, and socio-ecological resilience cannot be measured by speed or passenger counts alone. It is equally shaped by how communities perceive and navigate infrastructure change and whether urban systems remain equitable, adaptive, and ecologically sustainable in the face of that change. So the aim of this study is to investigate community perceptions of the BRT system in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, focusing on BRT Phase 1, and it also explores how those perceptions both reflect and influence the city's broader socio-ecological resilience. This study is grounded in the concept of socio-ecological resilience, understood as how well can a city's social and ecological systems absorb pressure, adapt to change, and transform when things aren't working. Drawing on three core properties, robustness, adaptability, and transformability, the framework moves beyond technical assessments of urban infrastructure to examine how systems respond to disruption across social and ecological dimensions. So this study extends the framework by positioning communities not just as passengers, but rather as co-producers of resilience in a way that their local knowledge, everyday practices, and perceptions actively contribute to more or less resilient city. Applied to the Dar es Salaam BRT, this lens asks not whether the system performs efficiently, but whether it strengthens or undermines the city's capacity to remain just, adaptive, and ecologically sustainable over time. Methodologically, the study utilized qualitative case study approach focused on BRT Phase 1 along Morogoro Road. Data were collected through 35 in-depth interviews with commuters, residents, informal transport operators, vendors, and officials, supplemented by field observations and document analysis. Data were analyzed thematically through inductive coding, allowing patterns and meanings to emerge from participants' own accounts. The findings were interconnected. Communities along the BRT Phase 1 corridor appreciated the system as a sign of modern progress, yet expressed significant frustration with its day-to-day operations. In addition, informal exclusion was also evident, as operators and businesses were displaced without adequate transition support. This was compounded by ecological loss, as vegetation clearance for road expansion intensified urban heat and flood risk, and by governance deficits reflected in the systematic absence of meaningful community engagement throughout the planning process. Together, these findings advance a core argument that socio-ecological resilience cannot be achieved through infrastructure alone. Therefore, transport systems must integrate community knowledge, protect informal livelihoods, and embed ecological design if they are to be resilient cities. The study recommends that other future BRT phases in Dar es Salaam should integrate green infrastructure, protect and support informal systems, improve community participation, and strengthen feeder systems. In terms of scholarly contribution, the study offers a community-centered framework for evaluating BRT systems that goes beyond ridership and speed metrics. It also contributes to socio-ecological resilience theory through its applicability in urban public transport in an African context, which also provides insights relevant to transport governance in African context.